Ever wonder what would happen if a Dodge Charger and a Bentley got drunk at a jazz bar and made something beautiful? You'd get this: the Chrysler 300C HEMI. Big suit, bigger attitude, and under the hood, a whole lot of violence. This is one of the most misunderstood cars to ever rumble out of Detroit. On the outside, it's a full-size executive sedan, but under the surface, it's a V8 powered street bruiser wrapped in leather and wood grain. From 2011 to 2014, Chrysler was quietly building one of the baddest sleepers on the American road. A car that could smoke tires, cruise in silence, and never once draw unwanted attention. Unless you wanted it to. This thing shares DNA with muscle cars, mob bosses, and Autobahn-slaying luxury. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the Chrysler 300C HEMI is one of the most slept-on, mod-friendly V8 monsters you can buy for under $15,000. And why smart car people know this isn't just another big sedan. This is power in disguise. The Chrysler 300 badge has always had a certain swagger. Even back in the 1950s, the original 300-letter series cars were seen as fast, flashy, and wildly upscale. Think Mad Men on muscle. The kind of cars Sinatra might pull up in before doing donuts in a parking garage. Then in 2005, Chrysler brought the nameplate back, and people noticed. The first-gen LX Platform 300C dropped like a thunderclap. It was bold, it was different, and it had a damn HEMI in it. But the second generation, that's where things got refined. In 2011, Chrysler took that brash first-gen attitude and gave it a facelift, literally and figuratively. The car looks smoother, more upscale, less blocky, but don't let that fool you. This wasn't Chrysler softening up. This was Chrysler getting dangerously sharp. They called it the return of the great American car, and for once, they weren't lying. Let's get into what really matters. The 2011 to 2014 Chrysler 300C came standard with one very important thing: the 5.7-liter HEMI V8. That's right, no turbochargers, no hybrid gimmicks, just old school, naturally aspirated fury. Rated at 363 horsepower and 394 pound-feet of torque, this engine wasn't just about peak numbers, it was about how it delivered them. Torque hit hard and early, giving you that push-you-back-in-the-seat launch at almost any speed. And this wasn't some relic of a motor dragged out of a parts bin. The modern HEMI had a variable cam timing, a 90-degree V-angle, and a reputation for durability. It also had Chrysler's multi-displacement system, which could shut down 4 cylinders during light throttle for better fuel economy. Was it perfect? No. But was it badass? Absolutely. This is where it gets fun. On paper, 363 horsepower might not sound like Hellcat numbers. But when you're sitting in a big rear-wheel drive sedan with gobs of torque and a heavy foot, it feels like a Hellcat's quiet cousin. You're not spinning through 8 gears like a motorcycle, you're just moving, effortlessly, brutally, silently. You tap the throttle and the 300C surges forward like it's hauling secrets, like it's been told to go bury something in the desert. This isn't just a car, it's a vibe. Now, early 2011 to 2012 300C models came with a 5-speed automatic, the Mercedes-derived W5A580. Solid but not lightning fast. It was reliable and smooth, but it wasn't exactly snapping necks. Then in 2013, Chrysler did something very smart. They brought in the ZF 8-speed automatic, the same gearbox used in Jaguars, BMWs, and performance Audis. And everything changed. With the 8-speed, gear shifts were faster, smoother, and the fuel economy improved dramatically. It even made the 0 to 60 time quicker, trimming a few tenths off the launch without breaking a sweat. Paired with the 5.7 HEMI, this setup turned the 300C from a low-key cruiser into a full-on executive street missile. And if you've got the all-wheel drive version, forget about it. All-season traction with V8 pull means you're basically driving a tuxedo-clad bulldozer that doesn't know the word traction loss. This isn't some loud tuner special with a coffee can exhaust. It's a muscle car in loafers. And the scariest part, it doesn't even look like it's trying. Now let's be real, the Chrysler 300C isn't a featherweight. At around 4,200 to 4,400 pounds, depending on trim and drivetrain, it's got some serious mass. But Chrysler didn't just let it float like a boat, they gave it bones. The second-gen 300 rides on the LY platform, an evolution of the original LX chassis that had Mercedes-Benz influence baked in, literally. Parts of the original suspension were borrowed from the E-Class. So what does that mean on the road? You've got a fully independent suspension setup, control arms up front, multi-link in the back. Add in a fat wheelbase, over 120 inches, and what you get is stability. Big sweeping turns feel effortless. Long highway stretches, forget it. This car eats pavement like it's skipping chapters. And when you spec the touring or performance package trims, it gets even tighter. Firmer shocks, thicker sway bars, more grip. Sure, it's not a canyon carver, but it's composed, confident, the kind of handling that makes you feel invincible in the left lane. And when paired with that V8 torque and an 8-speed, the 300C doesn't feel slow. It feels heavy-hitting, like a linebacker in a tuxedo who can also moonwalk. Let's talk dirty. This car wasn't just built to cruise stock. The Chrysler 300C HEMI is a modder's playground. Start with the basics. A cold air intake and a solid tune from Diablo Sport or HEMI Fever, and you're already seeing gains. Swap the mid-mufflers for straight pipes. Now it sounds like what it is, a street-brawling back-alley V8. But it gets deeper. Want to go full villain mode? Add long tube headers, high flow cats, ported throttle body, cam swap, boom. Now you're pushing well north of 400 horsepower, and you haven't even opened the motor. And for the truly twisted, supercharger kits are out there. Whipple, ProCharger, Magnuson. With forged internals and the right fuel, people are pushing 600-plus wheel horsepower out of these cars. All while rolling around in something that looks like it should be dropping off a Senator. The aftermarket support is deep, from suspension kits to diff upgrades to blackout packages. You can turn the 300C into anything you want. Luxury cruiser, drip strag demon, murdered out VIP sled. It's not just a sleeper, it's a shape shifter. You think you know what this car is? Then it passes you doing 100 in the rain with jazz playing and seat heaters on. Climb inside, and this ain't your grandpa's Chrysler. The 300C came standard with Napa leather, contrast stitching, real wood trim, and one of the best layouts Chrysler ever pulled off. It's not over-designed, it's focused, purposeful, cool. Those big bolstered seats, heated and ventilated. The dash, wrapped and stitched, not just molded plastic. Even the steering wheel feels solid, leather-wrapped with controls that actually make sense. By 2013, the center stack featured the 8.4-inch Uconnect touchscreen, and let's be honest, it wiped the floor with most infotainment systems of the time. Fast, simple, clean. Apple CarPlay wasn't there yet, but Uconnect handled Bluetooth, nav, media, and climate with zero drama. And paired with the Beats by Dre or Alpine 10-speaker sound systems, this thing thumps. Whether it's NAS or 9-inch nails, you've got rolling surround sound on 20s. And tech surprisingly ahead of its time. Blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise, rear cross-traffic alert, heated steering wheel, memory seats, rain-sensing wipers, even a damn analog clock, because Chrysler still knew what real class looked like. Now let's get into the trims and model years, because the details matter. 2011 to 2012, you've got the original redesign, slightly more chrome, basic Uconnect 8.4, 5-speed auto. Still great, but a little more old school. 2013, game changer. This was the year of the 8-speed automatic on select trims, improved electronics, and better fuel economy. This is the one you want if you care about smooth power delivery. 2014 and beyond, Chrysler cleaned up the interface, refined the materials even more, and started adding more options like lane departure warning and forward collision warning. If you can find a 2013 to 2014 300C HEMI all-wheel drive with the 8-speed and a clean maintenance history, grab it. That's the sleeper spec. It's like a Hellcat chill cousin, the one with a real job and a clean record, until Friday night. If the Dodge Charger is the guy doing push-ups in the parking lot, the Chrysler 300C is the one in a tailored suit who already knows he can win the fight. It doesn't shout, it doesn't strut. It just exists with confidence. From the front, you've got that wide, squared-off grille, LED halos that stare through you like they've seen some things, and a hood that looks like it was designed to shove air out of the way, not cut through it. Walk around the side and the beltline is high, the windows are tight, and the stance is low and long. The 300 doesn't look like it's in a hurry. It looks like it already owns the place. And that's exactly why it's such a good sleeper. People see a Chrysler badge and check out. They think rental car, grandpa car, something to Uber in. But under the skin, this thing's ready to brawl. Debadge it, tint it, black out the trim. Now you've got a rolling poker face, and the other guy has no clue what just gapped him. It doesn't need spoilers or stripes. It just needs 1 second and a stretch of open road. The 300C might not have worn a cape in any superhero movies, but in the real world, it was already a star. This was the unofficial car of CEOs, rap videos, and underground street kings. Everyone from 50 Cent to Rick Ross to Kendrick Lamar has rapped about it. Why? Because it has that perfect blend: class, comfort, and chaos. It showed up in video games, in club parking lots, in driveways where the charger was just a little too loud. This was the car that told the world, yeah, I've got V8 power, but I've also got dinner reservations. Let's talk about real-world scenarios. Owning a Chrysler 300C HEMI as a daily driver? Surprisingly practical. You've got a massive trunk, full-size back seats with room for adults, heated everything, all-wheel drive if you live where the roads get sketchy, a cabin quiet enough to hear the phone ring at 90 miles per hour. It'll cruise the interstate all day at 80 with the engine barely breathing. The torque makes merging a joke. And parking? Big, but manageable thanks to sensors and a decent turning radius. But it's not perfect. Fuel economy? You didn't buy a HEMI to save gas. Around 16 to 25 miles per gallon depending on how heavy your foot is. Interior wear? Some trim pieces show age over time. Look for cracking on the dash or peeling on older steering wheels. Parts and maintenance? Mostly affordable, but don't cheap out on fluids or tires. This car deserves proper care. By 2023, Chrysler announced that the 300 and the HEMI in it was done. No more big sedans with big V8s. The world moved on. Hybrids, EVs, crossovers. But if you know where to look, these 300C HEMIs are still out there. Well cared for, modded, waiting. You can pick one up today for under $15K. That's less than a used Camry, less than a new Civic. And you're getting something with torque, luxury, road presence, and most of all, soul. The Chrysler 300C HEMI isn't just a sedan, it's a secret weapon. A car that slides through traffic unnoticed, until it doesn't. A car that'll eat miles with the grace of a Mercedes and then rip a burnout just because you felt like it. In a world drowning in safe, beige, fuel-efficient boxes, the 300C HEMI is a cigar-smoking, jazz-playing outlaw that doesn't ask for permission. And if you ever get a chance to own one, don't hesitate, don't ask questions, just do it. Because not every performance car looks fast, some just are.